Hi guys, welcome to Paige's Kitchen. I want to teach you how to make easy, fun, homemade recipes. So why don't we get started with the classic, homemade banana bread. Who doesn't like classic banana bread? I sure do, and we're gonna enhance it. So why don't we take a better look at our ingredients and why don't we get started? Our ingredients today will be butter that is soft and room temperature. We'll be using standard white sugar, vanilla, which I have imported from Mexico, which is the best vanilla that you can possibly get. We will be using 1 egg. We will be beating it. We have cinnamon and nutmeg in this little container, baking soda, baking powder, and some salt, some crispy walnuts, some delicious chocolate chips, some ripe bananas. The ripe bananas should start to turn a little bit brown. These ones are looking really good. This is what these ones turn out to be. So nice ripe bananas. If they aren't ripe and you do want banana bread right away, you can throw them into a brown paper bag and it ripes the bananas up a little bit more. And we also have some white flour. As you can see on our station, that we also have some toothpicks, some great Walmart toothpicks here, just to test to see if our banana bread is cooked thoroughly. If anything sticks to the toothpick, you want to make sure that you just cook it a little bit longer so that there's nothing sticking to it. We have our pan. We want to nicely grease it with some butter. You can use the tin foil that comes with the butter to use it as a nice trick. Make sure you get all the way around the edges so that nothing sticks. You will see that we have a sifter here ready to use and a nice mix master. But don't worry, if you don't have a mix master, you can use a regular bowl and mix it by hand. So nothing too serious here, guys. Why don't we make the classic banana bread that everybody's dreamt of? We will be adding our 1/3 of a cup of butter to our mixture. We're just gonna remove our sifter so it's out of the way. We'll be adding our sugar, vanilla, from Mexico, of course, and our 1 egg beaten. So we just want to take a nice fork, easiest way, whip it up really quick. Till it's nice and beaten, and add it in. We will then go over to our mix master. We'll need our beaters. And we are just going to add them in here. They should click nicely into place. There's a nice click. And then this one as well. We are going to lower our head. And we're just gonna turn it on at a low speed just so that everything is nice and soft and beaten up well. You can give your little thing a nice spin if it doesn't start to turn right away, which is fine. Now I turned up the power just to let it mix at the very end so that everything's well mixed. It's okay if the butter looks a little bit clumpy. It will cook in the oven. It is soft butter. So once we have added all of that, I am going to lift up our little bucket here. We're gonna take this out. Hopefully nothing drips. If it does, oh well. We have our bucket here, and what we're gonna do is add all the remaining ingredients. So before we get started with that, we are just going to quickly grab our fork that we have, and we're just gonna mash up the bananas. We want them well mixed so that there's not a whole bunch of chunks. And again, I used about 3 to 4 bananas. It just depends on the size. I find about 4 bananas is our favorite in our household on the kinds of bananas that we get. Just gives it that much more flavor while we're cooking. So that looks about good and nice and mashed. So we are going to add in our bananas. We're gonna grab our sifter. So all of our dry ingredients we are going to add on top. The sifting portion just makes it so that we don't have any lumps or clumps. This is the baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And we have our flour as well. So you can see there's some clumps and it's all gone. We add in our flour. And we're just gonna start shaking, sifting. Nice little arm workout, but honestly the machine does all of the work. Then we're gonna place it back onto our little mix master here. We are going to place our head down and we're gonna turn it on. Because there is flour in here, if you turn up the speed to 6, it's all gonna go right into your face. It's not gonna be a fun time. So just make sure that you're starting on a nice low speed. We're gonna turn it up a bit. I don't really want to go higher than a speed of 3. It's mixing nicely now. And we're just going to turn down the speed to off. It looks well mixed to me. I'm going to make sure that we get every last bit of dough. And we're just gonna take a nice spatula and we are just gonna make sure that all of the edges are going into the middle just so that we're not missing anything. We want all of this to be incorporated. Now, I did not add the walnuts into our batter because I wanted to hand whip them in. We're just gonna sprinkle them on top here and we're just gonna mix them in by hand. Once we have that, we are ready to add to our lovely little baking pan. And again, this is the time when you want to make sure that your baking pan is nice and greased. If you don't have any butter, not to worry, you can use parchment paper. Parchment paper will allow it to easily come out without anything sticking if you are worried about that. Okay, we've cleaned out our pan. Now we're just gonna spread it just to make sure that all corners are nice and even. Don't worry if you have little goop up there. It's not really gonna make a difference there. And I just like to pat it out just to make sure that all air bubbles are out. Once we've added all of the ingredients into our banana bread, we have the walnuts, we have the bananas, all the good stuff. To make it that much better, why don't we add a little sprinkle of brown sugar? I have put in here 2 tablespoons brown sugar. I will not be using the whole thing. We're just gonna lightly sprinkle the top of our banana bread. Now this will give it a nice deep crust. It will give it a nice crunch, a nice little flavor. You want it to just be lightly covered, okay? Now we're gonna add some ooey gooey chocolate chips to the top. We don't wanna go too crazy, guys. We don't want like a huge melt of chocolate. We just want a nice little oomph of chocolate. So now that we have had everything added that we possibly need to our banana bread, why don't we go and put it in the oven? We'll be putting it in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes, roughly. I have never had to go over 45 minutes, so it just depends on your oven. And we're just gonna go and use our toaster oven because it fits. Place it in and make sure that the time is for 45 minutes. Let's let this bake, and why don't we see you guys in a little bit and see how our banana bread's doing. So our banana bread has now been cooking for 45 minutes. We're just gonna pull it out of the oven and take a peek. So now that our banana bread has been pulled out of the oven, it looks amazing, by the way. Little bit of brown sugar just makes the crust go a little bit crispier. It will taste a little bit nicer. The chocolate will be nice, moist, and melty in your mouth, so it'll be really good. To check it, we're gonna take a nice clean toothpick, and we're just gonna shove it in the middle, all the way down, all the way up. As you can see, the toothpick has nothing on it, which is what we're looking for, guys. We want nothing to be sticking onto the toothpick. However, if it is, just throw it in the oven for another 2 to 3 minutes and it should be good to go again, but you need to always check with the toothpick. So once you're done with that, you're gonna wanna let it rest now for about 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, so our banana bread now has been sitting for about 35 minutes or so. We are gonna take it out of the pan. If you grease the pan well enough with butter, you will have no problems getting it out. So all you're gonna do is just one hand holding it, the other one like this. We're gonna flip it. As you can see, it came out really nicely. We have a nice golden brown crisp top, as you can hear it. Nice and crispy. The chocolate chips are really looking good on top. We're gonna cut it and we are going to see how it looks. Now, as you can hear it, it's nice and crispy. Goes into a nice soft crust. Give you a nice cross section so you can see how it looks. Beautiful and moist. Now the next thing that we have to do is we have to try our banana bread. So as you can see, there's nice walnuts in here. Personally myself, I love to have butter smeared all over it. So I'm just gonna take some nice soft butter and we're just going to put it on top. Butter could have been a little bit more warm, but we'll go with it. It'll still taste really good. This heats up really good for the next day in the toaster oven, and you can add honestly anything that you want on top of it. I'm a butter girl, so just put that there, and we're gonna taste it now. So it's my favorite part of the whole show. That crust, guys, got a nice crunch to it, and a hint of chocolate with the chocolate chips. And then you have that crunch of that walnut in between, which gives it a nice, really good texture. It's not too soft, but you get that nice crunch. This honestly is one of the best banana breads that I've ever had. I don't think you guys need to see me watch and eat all of it, but I'm definitely going to. So please like and follow us on our YouTube page. Don't forget to ring that little bell. And we can't wait to see you guys until next time. Have a good one. Catch you guys later.